You get a magnesium? You have one of these?
Yeah.
Are we doing the scary stories? Oh man, I barely remember that.
Some people believe if we repeat stories often enough, they become real.
So,
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back. Okay, so we have watched Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark.
Yes.
My initial reaction to the movie, it wasn't that bad.
I had a lot of expectations for this movie because this book came out when I was a very little child.
Uh-huh.
And it was always at the book fair. I don't know if a lot of people don't know those, but it was at a book fair at school, and my brother had gotten it. And he would always like to read the stories aloud. And of course, me, an idiot, would listen to them, and they'd scare the shit out of me. They were some legit scary stories.
You know about the...
So I had a lot of expectation for this movie. I was like, okay, I don't get scared, so let's hope to God that these stories, poke at some flashback trauma and scare me. But I didn't get that entirely. I got more of a PG-13, scary movie type.
Well, that's when I was coming into this movie, I felt Goosebumps kind of thing. Just
Goosebumps meets Conjuring type thing.
Erie, Indiana, Stranger Things. I mean, that's basically what was going through my head. Like, Are You Afraid of the Dark?
Yes.
But with a bigger budget. So that's what was going through my head, and so I didn't get let down whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
It's exactly what I felt.
It was a good movie.
It's a good, scary movie for kids.
Yes. That movie, if you are under 13, I will have to tell you it's going to scare the shit out of you.
Yeah, it's going to
if not,
scare those kinds of kids.
You have some serious issues.
So it begins.
Yeah, tell us how it begins.
Kind of seeing the whole entire town. You just kind of follow.
Get the whole feel of aspect.
Get the whole feel of the town. And then it comes in onto some kids. And, well, I say some kids. It really just follows the girl kind of being a loner. And then she gets a phone call from her friends, and her friends are like, hey, we gotta do it tonight. This is our last chance. This is gonna be our complete last chance. What happens? They get together, dress up, it's Halloween, and they have planned to mess with the bully. Basically screw with the bully.
Right. That's right.
So I enjoyed the two friends real quick. You have the one loner girl, then you have the two friends, Augie.
I like Augie. He was funny.
He was like
he was the comic relief.
He was the smart one. Augie was the smart guy. Then the other guy, who was the Jewish kid, he made sure to say that. His name was, I know it, Chuck.
Was Chuck the long-haired kid that got hugged to death?
Yes.
Okay, him. I liked him.
He was very funny throughout the whole movie.
Chuck.
We'll skip ahead for a second. I love the fact that when he was like talking to his sister, he was like, oh, you popping your zits? And she's like, oh, get out of here. And she shut the door. He's like, oh, my banana.
That was awesome. I remember that.
Like, oh, my banana. Okay, moving back. So they are having this little dynamic. There's three people having this little dynamic. The one chick, I cannot for the life of me remember her name right now.
Her character in the movie?
Yeah. Her character's name.
Don't ask me.
I don't know why. She is lonely because, and it kind of glosses over, that her mom is no longer around. We don't know why.
Stella.
There we go, Stella. So Stella's mom is not around. We don't know why. So she stays, and she has no friends. All of her friends said, no, we don't want to be your friends anymore. She became the laughingstock of the entire town because it's a small town. So we then get introduced to the bully after they kind of fight back. You see Chuck earlier taking a dump and then fishing out his dump and putting it in a plastic bag.
Yes,
paper bag.
That was.
He rolls it up. He gets it ready, and
That's commitment.
his
That's
sister.
that's at the point of level where you say about your boys, I've had enough of this shit.
His sister catches him, and he's like, "Can I have some privacy in here?"
Get out! He's got a spoonful of poop.
So of course, they're fighting back against the bad guy, or against the bully. So they're throwing eggs at it. The bully at his car. The bully reverses back, and then they throw some flaming crap in there. Gets on the guy's lap.
Gets on his lap, and he's like,
"What smells like crap."
Yeah.
He gets out. He's like, "I'm gonna kill you guys," and they start running.
We got him, guys.
They run through the forest. They run all the way over to an old. Well, I say old. It's a regular drive-in that's going on. They climb the fence.
Oh, this is where we get introduced into our diverse character. What was his name? Juan Miguel Carlos Ramon Morales.
I just love the Juan Miguel Carlos. I was like, wow. You know, Ramon was not as cliched as every other name you just said.
I'm Hispanic. I can go that far.
They make us who we are. That can be scary.
Eat it, Harold. So they're running, and then they jump in Ramon's car to hide.
Mm-hmm.
Bad guys show up, or the bullies show up and like, hey, blah, 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 blah. And they're, of course, they throw out a little bit of racism. Then they insult the girl. They're trying to coax them out. That's what it is.
Trying to antagonize them to get
Right.
out, and it doesn't go their way. And of course, the matinee guy's like, "Hey, you gotta be in your car to watch this here movie."
I don't even think it was the matinee guy. I think it was somebody who was
passerby.
actually there.
Oh yeah, he was a guy in a car.
He was like, hey,
get the frick
get
out
out
of
of here. I'll walk you out. I'll show you the exit.
Yeah, and they're like, "Let's go, guys."
It's an adult. And so, though, real quick, they were watching. What movie were they watching on the screen?
How long ago did you?
Romero's
Oh, they're watching Night of the Living Dead.
Night of the Living Dead. Yes.
1968, George A. Romero's.
Yep.
Yeah. They were watching that. That's right, because they were in the cemetery. No, they were at the house scene where it was busting in, right?
So, they were watching that, and that's a good little homage. Then, from there, she, complains and cries real quick about what the guy said. And then, of course, Ramon then hears from Chuck and Augie about, oh, this is her little past, just a slight little past. And then she kind of sucks it up, walks over, and goes, you guys want to visit a haunted house?
Yeah, let's just brush it off.
Yeah.
Okay, now that we've established a quick little intro for us, let's get over to the scary part.
So they go to the scary house.
It was literally a little, one of those fair rides where you get the ticket, you pay them, it's like, okay, sit in the buggy, here we go. The entrance, it's kind of spooky, okay, here we go. And then that's where all the scary starts happening.
But see, I like that kind of pacing for a kid's movie.
That's literally what it is. But it was rated R, right?
No, it's PG-13.
It's PG-13.
Yeah.
I
like it because it is
that changes a lot.
It is a kid's book.
This was just as intense as when the movie Stay Alive came out. Because I remember going to that as a teenager at 13. I was like, yes, I'm 13. I can go to see this movie.
Stay Alive.
Yeah, so I get that feel. It's like, it's the movie you want to take your, if you're 14, you want to take your date on.
Yeah.
You're definitely going to get scared.
Well, okay, so they get into the house.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, they're telling the stories of what the girl would do. I think her name was Sarah Bellows?
Sarah Bellows, yes. That was the writer of the book.
Yes.
The Scary Story book.
And the whole lore of what she would
Sarah
do.
Bellows.
Tell us a story.
Sarah Bellows wrote a book.
And so, of course, you have a little scare sequence with Chuck running away, trying to scare Augie, and then he runs into this
basement.
You know, he runs upstairs and goes, hides in a closet.
That's right.
Opens it. There's a dog. What's funny is I was watching this with my girlfriend as it was opened, and it just showed a dog and an old woman, but the dog is staring. My girlfriend goes, "Oh my god, that's so creepy." It's just because it's a dog. I guess it was a Rottweiler, so it was kind of a scarier dog. Actually, it might have been a Doberman.
It was a Doberman.
Doberman? Because those are bigger than... But, skinnier than a Rottweiler.
Dobermans are skinny, pointy looking ones. Yeah.
So, yeah, it was the Doberman, and it was just staring, and that creeped her out a lot. And so that's the way I looked at this movie. It's not a scary movie. It was like creepy little scenes. Just little creepy things.
At this point, I was like, okay, so we're going to get this kind of movie. But that's good. Let's see what it...
Well, then, of course, they're like, "Hey, guys, come down here.
I found a spot to do all this shit."
We found her actual place.
Her room, her bedroom that they kept her in. Behind the secret pantry door. Don't forget, the bullies are still chasing him.
Well, no, that's just it. They weren't chasing him.
But they found him, though.
They found him because his car was parked in front of the house.
And they passed by.
And it was the same house.
Yeah, and they passed by it, yeah.
And so, of course, now them stumbling upon them and be like, "Oh, look, I found this thing." And they shut it on him. And even threw his sister in there. Threw Chuck's sister in there. And locked it. Of course, the guy was drunk. The bully was drunk.
It was her ex-boyfriend.
His name is Tommy.
Of course.
We never
It's
established.
always a Tommy. It's always a Tommy, a Matt. It's always a Michael. It's always a Jeff. It's always some masculine name.
Wow. So a male bully is always some kind of masculine name.
Yeah. If his name is like Truck, expect some trouble.
So, no guy named Diane.
Oh.
But
those are the guys you really got to worry about if they're already bullying.
So, then Stella says, "Tell me a story," which screws everybody.
Oh no, she just woke up the whole broad.
And so then the ghost lets them out.
Is she like a banshee at that point? Because isn't a female ghost considered a banshee? Because doesn't she scream?
At the end, whenever she was like, "Oh no, you guys, I'm gonna stop being mean."
Right. That's right.
Coming back.
So they whisper her name, like tell her the
and
story.
then they all just go home.
Nothing happens.
Well, okay, no, they don't go home. They go outside, and then the bully defaced and destroyed the car.
They got out because when she said, "Tell me a story," some shit went on, and the candle went out, and everything.
Well, the
went out.
ghost went
and unlocked
up there
the door.
and locked the door.
And so they were like, all right.
And then Ramon's car got completely just beat up.
They just brushed past that because they thought it was somebody else that unlocked it.
Yeah.
And then, the ethnic kids, Ramon's car's all beat up and trashed up. But, they then after that, they have to...
She invites him to stay
with her, right?
Well, under... the basement.
In the basement. That's
just
right.
leave before my dad wakes up.
Mm-hmm.
And
you know how that
we've
works.
established that she was like a wannabe writer, so that's why she's in love with this whole girl
book and stories,
writing stories for kids.
And she took the book that she found.
She stole
Sarah Bell's book, and she took it back with them, and she's looking through it at home. And the next thing you know, she sees a story that's already written
for Tommy.
And she starts reading it out, and Tommy's the same guy that was beating the shit out of...
He's the bully. He
was beating the shit out of this scarecrow earlier in the movie. And, of course, he's got a dick of a father. And
Never liked that scarecrow.
Oh, no. It's a piece of shit.
And, of course, then we have this whole sequence of the scarecrow coming to life, killing Tommy, stabbing him with a pitchfork. Then he turns into a straw man and... becomes the scarecrow himself.
That's right. And then he becomes the scarecrow because it's wearing the Leatherman jacket at the end. When they're looking at it.
Hey, what's going on?
Tommy's missing.
And then she's like, "Oh my god, this story sounds just like what happened to Tommy. We're in danger."
Well, she goes with Ramon to the actual place to see if it's true.
And they find
and they find the Scarecrow with the
Letterman jacket.
jacket.
Like, oh,
Yeah.
this is really happening.
This could be really happening. And so they call Augie.
And then the next victim was Chuck, right?
Augie.
That's right.
They
Because
call Augie
Augie's
and
the one
say,
with the
"Hey,
glasses,
Augie."
right?
No, he's just the tall one.
Oh, that's right, the tall, skinny one.
Augie, his parents are out on like a little vacation and left him for like the weekend. And so they call Augie and they're like, "Hey, Augie, your name is being
It's being
scrawled."
written. You got a story coming, and he's making the soup, isn't he?
No. He wasn't making the soup. He found the soup in the fridge.
In this fridge. That's right, and it was the missing toe story.
Yes.
And I was like, that's the moment where I was like, oh crap, here comes my childhood all over again.
Now this toe is, they're reading it.
He's eating soup, and there's a freaking toe in his soup.
And he drops it. He's like, "Oh my god, there's a toe in here." There's also eyeballs, which he glossed over as well.
Ah.
And so now this dead body is looking for the toe. Where is my toe? So he runs and hides and goes into his room, locks his door, and then hides underneath
Underneath
the bed.
his bed. And he's like, okay, the thing did not come in here. I'm good. But the music is still building up, so we know we're about to get it.
So he crawls out, looks around, and then
I thought it was
It's
going to be on
underneath the
top of the
bed.
bed. I
Yeah.
thought it was going to be on top of it.
it's under the bed and
and pulls
him
them back into the darkness
scratches,
of the wall.
Yeah.
And so when they move the bed, when the kids, the friends finally get there, and it's always the last minute, and they move the bed because they knew from the story, and they looked, and sure enough, the claw marks led right to the wall itself.
Mhm.
So he went right into the depths of the darkness.
Then after that, the kids all meet at the.
At this point, it's serious.
Oh yeah, no, and then the kids all meet at the drive-in during the day, or it's evening-ish, and even the older sister's there of Chuck's. And they're like, "Where's Augie? Where's Augie?" And they're like, "Augie's dead, or he's gone."
Augie's gone.
Augie's gone, and he's like, "What? And so I like how Chuck gets the book, and he's like, "What? No!" And he's freaking out, but at the same time he's reading it. Oh, he ate a toe?
Yeah, I love that about him.
Like, it just, every now and then there's like a serious moment, and then...
Like, let me let you laugh real quick.
Now, I did look at a few reviews, and some reviews say that that's bad. Oh, they don't know which tone they want it to be. It's either comedy or this or that. Guys, this is for kids.
It's a PG-13 movie.
It's a PG-13 movie for kids that are under really 13.
The only people that were only mocking it or talking bad about it is because they're the adults that grew up on the book, so they're thinking of the fear that they had as a child reading it.
I don't think they're thinking of the fear that they had as a child. What I think is they expect it to be like a Conjuring movie.
Yeah, they thought it was going to be a scary movie.
Yeah, Conjuring is PG-13.
But you gotta remember, this is a scholastic book.
But I feel like this movie was more for like age 7
to 15.
to 15. Yes. It is basically the young teens, like a little bit younger than teen to middle teen kind of movie. And so it's perfect to have a little bit of comedy, a little bit of this, a little bit of that, all trickled out through there.
The movie is a ride.
It's not Halloween Town.
This movie is
it's just a pure Disney movie.
That's
and it's
a pure
not,
tragedy movie.
It's not The Conjuring, which is going to scare the crap out of a teenager.
No, it's a mixture of the two. So it's like,
yeah,
it's a high, like you said before, a high budgeted Are You Afraid of the Dark?
exactly. And so when you have this, now they're like, oh no, what's going to happen? What do we do? They go on a little adventure trying to figure things out. They go to the library.
Do the
they're
research about Sarah Bellows.
researching. You get all those fun
all the
little
while
things.
the clock's a ticking to when the next time she's going to write her story about whoever.
Of course, while they're there, starts writing.
And the next victim,
the red spot,
that was
ends up being a sister.
That was when the sister was like, I'm not dealing with this shit. You guys figure it out. I got a dance to go to.
Oh, she was before that.
Yeah, before that, when they were finding out about Augie. And they tried to burn the book, and it didn't burn.
Right.
And
I love when Chuck goes, this is why I don't read books. Yes, because books don't burn, huh?
And so she went off to do her dance stuff at her homecoming or whatever, and she starts getting the red spot.
It was a play.
It was a play, that's
Yeah.
right. And she was like the main role, or main lead almost.
Yeah.
And that's when she got the red spot. And the red spot turned out to be a giant egg sac.
Egg sac of spiders, which actually, fun fact, that is actually a true story. It's embellished, but it's actually a true story where people have gotten
Bit in the face or somewhere on their body.
some kind of bug or insect
And-
lays eggs inside their skin.
Some insects do that to other insects.
Yes.
So.
And it has happened. So that's where you get this weird little body stuff. It
Well,
just
I
freaks
like
you
that
out.
because they paid a lot of attention to detail of that part, because anybody would cringe at the thought of knowing that there's something inside your skin.
Yes.
So that part I did give a ooh, even I was with my girlfriend and she was like, she hates bugs. So it was already enough for her. So just the thought when I saw him crawling all over her, I knew in my thought there's no muscles in the world that can stop that. So you're freaked out. There's bugs all over you. So that was a really good paying attention to reality there.
So, but they end up actually saving her,
Yes.
and they move on. She's like almost going nuts. They're like, oh, she's never gonna be the same again.
Because they weren't even there, actually.
No, they had a big adventure to get there and all that
That's
stuff. So they end up saving her, but at the same time, they're like, we saved her. But then somebody else says later, you didn't save anybody. She's gonna go nuts. That was the police officer. She's gonna be nuts. She's gonna be saying in this
Because it just
insane asylum.
it just wrecked her brain.
Yeah.
That shit.
Then from there, we move over to. We are looking at the. We find out that Sarah Bellows was put into an insane asylum.
Yeah, you find out that she's not actually she wasn't always a crazy person.
No, she was put in there by her brother.
Mm-hmm.
And so they go there to try to get her records.
Mm-hmm.
Then they sneak around, and then Chuck.
They're
ends
sneaking
up-
around the mental hospital.
Yeah,
and stuff.
Chuck ends up having a nightmare that keeps reoccurring.
It's very convenient that the girl ended up at the same mental hospital that they would have records of Sarah Bello there.
And so what happens?
The next story.
Long
starts being
story
written.
short, his thing starts getting wrote, and
His
he
thing
is-
was actually pretty intense.
It's a fat chick,
It's a fat thing.
thing walking towards him, but every which way
direction.
he goes,
It's coming.
she pops up in front of him.
And it's there, and it's coming in all four directions.
Yeah,
That is scary. And the reason why I say is
because
because
slow building.
it's a slow build up at the fact you can't go anywhere.
You can't run from your fear.
That is a slow and scary death.
And then his fear absorbs him.
Yeah, he literally just
Like it's not violent or anything. It's actually, that's why I consider this kind of just a creepy movie, because your fear absorbed you. It didn't attack you, didn't kill you, it didn't slash you up and hang your flesh up.
It just took you.
It just absorbed you.
hmm
So you just go creepy.
That was probably top one, not spiders. That was probably.
And then after that, they leave, and they're like, "Oh my god!" Well, actually, they get caught. They get
'Cause now it's
taken
just
from
Stella and
to
Ramon.
the police station.
And they're like, we're not gonna believe anything you say, you Mexican.
Yeah. Well, you find out that he was actually draft dodging.
Yes.
He didn't want to go to Vietnam because his brother died
Mm-hmm.
and was sent in pieces back.
Yeah.
And then what happens? They both are in the jail because she refuses to leave him. His thing starts getting wrote, and the
Cops.
the police officer's like, "Hey, it was already written," and he's like, "Hey, what is this going on?" And then I forget what his thing is called. It was like
The Jangler Man.
the Jangler Man. Yes. And you just see it.
That was
comes,
scary looking.
falls down through there, and it's in pieces.
It was like a gigantic
What
dude.
does he say? He says like wingle wangle or something really dumb, that choot choot or something that I was like, huh?
He says something like that?
Yeah. Whenever he shows up and Even the story is called like, it's like Toot Toot Wangle Walker.
Oh, okay.
It's like Shoot Shoot Wangle Walker or something like that.
But yeah, so he puts himself together and he's like an 8-foot tall monster looking dude.
And he's always, like, even whenever he puts himself together, he's still kind of like flopping around.
Broken up.
And he beats the crap out of the police officer,
Just
throws
kills
him
him,
in
yeah.
there. And then, of course, he's trying to get into the bars after the kid. And once he's halfway, the girl, Stella, that was already getting the keys from the police officer who's dead, she gets out, gets him out, and it's a very intense sequence, actually. I actually really surprised.
It's an edge on your edge of the seat type of moment.
I was really surprised how they worked that. It was a very interesting, simple, but fun scene.
Quick, literally one set, and it's like
Yeah.
building up to all this big shit happening, yeah.
And then moving from there, they, of course, run away, and then he takes the police car. He's like, you go over here and tell her that she's not the cause of all this. And then I'm going to go over here, and I'm going to distract the Jangler Man. So he's driving, and of course the Jangler Man's attacking. He eventually...
That was an intense car scene, too.
Yeah, he eventually
Crashes.
wrecks the car.
What an idiot.
And then he runs over, and then she, actually, let's go to her. She goes to the house, gets in there, her story gets written, and she is now in a haunted house, and she becomes Sarah.
Bellows.
And so now the family's looking for her.
Mm-hmm.
All the while, Ramon, makes it to the house, finds the book, but he's also being chased by the Jangler Man, so he's now running around through this broken down house while she
is in like an alternate reality
of the house. And it's a very intense sequence. It
'cause-
almost reminds me of The Frighteners.
Okay.
Of just the ending sequence where it's every now and then he'll see like the past and it goes back and they're in there, but she's actually in this alternate reality, not just seeing it.
Yeah. And see, like, she's trapped in it, so, like, even if they're sitting in the same spot, they don't know that they're there.
Right. And so she's trying to figure things out, and she actually breaks down when she gets
Well, she's actually
locked
stuck
in the
in
bottom.
the past. If anything, she's a time traveler. Because there's a part where he finds her glasses, and they're aged and
Yes.
cracked. So that means she went back in time.
In a weird sense, yes. And she gets put at the very bottom and locked in. She's crying and freaking out. And at that point, the Ramon finally gets caught
By the
Jangler Man. He's being choked, and you're like, this is a very intense sequence. And she then tells
Sarah,
this is your story. Let me tell you a story. Your stories are killing people. You didn't kill people way back when, but you are now.
yeah, she tries to give Sarah Bell's like, I believe in you. You're not the monster.
And then
It
she's
was
like,
your family.
Oh yeah? If it's so true, write it in blood. She gives her a pen to be able to stab herself and then write the story in blood of what's the truth.
And then it just literally stops Sarah
Well,
Bell.
she freaks out for a second, and then it's done.
That's it.
It's done.
She lets out a yelp.
And then Ramon, like, it shows like a couple of days later, Ramon goes to the draft.
He's like, screw this. I'm gonna go get blown up in Vietnam.
He goes to the draft, but then Stella is with Chuck's sister and her dad, and they're like, we're gonna go find Chuck and Augie, because this book, and they still have Sarah's book, must have a way to get to them. So, I mean, it opened for a sequel.
Well, because there were multiple books, so I guess that gives them leeway, leisure to select certain stories that were
And keep making more.
making more movies. So that way they can incorporate other monsters that weren't mentioned in this one.
Yeah.
Because there were a couple stories that didn't get mentioned that I was hoping to get mentioned, but
Well, I think overall it was a fun preteen kind of just horror movie for
for a spooky Friday night.
For like $26 million preteen horror movie. It was fun. It was good.
It was good. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I totally recommend it for anybody who's out looking for just a fun, creepy movie. I put it on the same lines of like a It Follows kind of a.
It Follows was trash to me. Well, I give this movie 2 Shaw Bros. What about you, Gerald? Was it not Shaw enough for you? Be sure to like, subscribe, leave some comments if you need to. You can find some more content on our Battle the Worst videos. Hope you like this video, guys. And until next time, rock out with your cocks out.